The figure bolts away from the trio, out the chamber and through a door on the opposite end. "Get back here!" Crassus takes off after them, Cole and Lila a bit behind him, shouting to each other in a panic. "This is a horrible idea! You just want to let him run off on his own? Crassus, wait!" Crassus, in fact, did not wait. He continues to sprint after the figure, quickly crossing the empty space and running through the door, his friends at his heels. The figure ahead of them made no real attempt to shake the trio, simply running deeper into the machine. However, the deeper the trio chased the figure, the more the tunnel seemed to squeeze closer. The walls gradually slope and tighten around them, pipes and wires running across the ground, making it hard to run. The figure, seemingly familiar with this area, starts to gain a lead on Crassus as he starts to stumble. Lila instead starts to pull ahead, nimbly stepping through the mess of floor wires and low-hanging pipes. She runs alongside Crassus long enough to exchange some words. "We're actually chasing this guy, yeah?" Crassus has a much harder time getting a response out through his strained breaths. "Yes, the trail led to them. Only suspect. Go ahead." Lila easily pushes forward, leaving Crassus and Cole to start losing ground. Slowly starting to catch up to the figure, shouting out from behind them in a bid to stop the chase. "Hey bud, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Slow down a bit so we can ask you some questions." The figure responds to this by suddenly darting down a side tunnel. Lila continues to follow close behind, rounding the same corner just fast enough to watch the figure swing out a hole in the floor into the open sky below. Lila slides to a halt to stop herself from falling out of the hole, just in time to watch a cable shoot back up from the figure, blades on the end lodging into the ceiling with a resounding chunk. A moment later, it released and fell back down the hole, giving the figure enough time to shoot another, then another, escaping along the bottom side of the Commerce District. Lila quietly clicked her tongue in disappointment and leaned up against the wall to catch her breath and wait for her friends, who caught up a couple dozen seconds later. A panting Crassus questioningly looks at Lila, who simply motions to the hole in front of them. Cole speaks for both of them when he says, "He just jumped out?" Lila responds with characteristic grace. "Yeah, technically. He had some kind of cable launcher grappling hook thing. You should have seen it. I wonder where I can get one of those." Crassus immediately snaps back, annoyed that his suspect got away. "We just chased that guy halfway around the district, and that's what you're thinking about? It looked cool, okay?" The two launch into another round of less than beneficial bickering, leaving Cole silently looking up at the 5 star-shaped punctures where the hole punched into the metal. Quietly musing to himself, he mutters, 5 holes. As soon as the words leave his mouth, he turns around to Lila and Crassus to share his revelation, butting in between their argument just in time for all of them to hear the deep groan of strained metal resonate all through the tunnels. Crassus is first to break the ensuing silence. Do you guys remember how we found that guy tampering with the pilot core? I really hope it's not the case, but if it is, Crassus is cut off again by the structure around them shaking violently as it physically starts sinking. Yep, let's get out of here." This was met by another heavy rumble, and another few centimeters further down. The trio needed no more encouragement, and the 3 of them started running back out the way they came. All the machinery they passed earlier when chasing the figure are now being pushed to their absolute limits to slow the ensuing damage. Steam pipes roar like waterfalls, the wires and cables buzz like great insects along the floor. Cramped tunnels quickly becoming blisteringly hot. The trio's progress back up was excruciatingly slow as the heat, slope, and uneven floors created an incredibly difficult run against time. However, they are able to retrace their steps, their tunnel eventually widening back out and opening back up to the pilot core room. The great wall of machinery sparked and beeped at an incredibly frantic pace, and Lila, previously leading the trio, stops for a moment to pick something up off the floor. The incredibly tired Crassus runs past, followed by Cole, who manages to choke out a shout to Lila. "Come on, we're running out of time!" Lila spares one last glance at the dying pilot core and pockets the item she picked up, sprinting again to catch up to the others. They continue to retrace their steps, rushing through the entrance tunnel and back up through the manhole in the alley, where they stop for a moment to rest in the significantly cooler open air. The top side of the district is similarly noisy to the underside, people shouting and running towards exits as the whole place shakes and sinks. Emergency speakers broadcast the voice of the expiring pilot corps through to the panicked citizens. Everyone please move to the nearest monorail station with haste. The district will be cut free in T-minus 5 minutes. This spurs the trio on once again towards the monorails and safety, just in time for the whole district to start tilting down, showing a dizzying view of the roiling clouds below. Further panicked, the three of them run even harder towards the monorails, along with anyone else still in the district. Luckily, the nearest monorail station isn't too far of a run, as they were already quite near to the edge of the Commerce District from the manhole. A couple terrifying moments later, the trio turned the corner onto the crowded monorail station. One last exhausting push onto the train car with dozens of other people. Pressed up against the windows, they watch as multiple teams of robots cut the ties as they pull away from the station, letting the district, without support, continue her slow fall into the storm. They all watch in awe and fear as the two greater cities pull away from each other from the sinking district, slowing to a stop in venerance of their fallen member. Eventually, the great piece of metal and machinery dips below the clouds, which accepted it hungrily. And it was then the trio finally realized the real stakes of their endeavor.